Sheldon Eskelson. I have been a civil engineer for about 45 years. I graduated before any of you were born, okay, 1980. Okay, I hold a bachelor's degree in civil engineering from the University of Utah. I hold a bachelor's degree in accounting from University of Arizona, and I hold a master's degree from Purdue University. Okay,
Wow.
so I have been involved in construction since I was 16. Working during the summers is what they call a hottie. It's not a girl either, by the way. Masons use cement mason mud, you know what I'm talking about there? And it's the hottie's responsibility to ensure that the bricklayers have the mud on the tables for them to keep moving forward. So a hottie's responsibility is to make the mud in the bags of water, the sand mix develop, and then take it to where the bricklayers are working. It's a lot of hard work, it's heavy work, but it was good work. So I did that for 2 summers while I was in high school. Then when I went to college, I worked my junior and senior year I was an intern for the Department of Transportation. When I graduated, they offered me a position as a project engineer 1, and so I actually pushed a survey crew. Ended up moving up through the Department of Transportation to being a project engineer, to being a project manager. Then I was over all the consultant services for the department, where I hired consulting firms to do work throughout the state for the department. And then the last 2.5 years there, I was the risk manager. 3 years ago, I was a senior project manager, and now about 3 weeks ago, they asked me to be the deputy manager for the entire CP. So I'm the number 2 manager for all of this.
Why did you choose this field?
As a kid, I used to play with Tonka toys. I don't know if you guys remember those were dump trucks, and they had little motor graders and all that stuff. And I grew up in a neighborhood, we had big fields, and we used to all gather as little boys and bring our trucks and toys. And I grew up playing in the dirt with toys and little track hoes and motor graders and stuff like that. But I think the thing that pushed me more toward, because I actually wanted to be an attorney, I wanted to be a lawyer. But my mother is from Wisconsin, and her brothers are big dairy farmers. We went back on vacation my junior year of high school, and one of her brothers, him and his wife, are unable to have children, but he has a massive, tens of thousands of acres of farmland, and he milks over 100 cows. And so I asked my parents if I could stay, a full year. And they said, it's up to you, up to her brother. But I said, absolutely, we love it. He's a nephew. So I ended up working on a dairy farm. I got involved in FFA, which is Future Farmers of America. I have a blue coat with my name. But I think what fascinated me was the crops. As a kid, I always thought the farmers just plowed the fields and threw the seed in the ground, and that was the end of it. I didn't realize there was so much more to it. There was crop rotations, the way you furrow a field. I mean, one season you go this way, then you go that way. Different crops take different nutrients out of the soil. So I got fascinated with soil mechanics. And I wanted to be a geologist. And so I went back when I got into school, went to university, and said, I really loved it, but I loved everything else. I loved the structure of things. And they said, why don't you just be a civil engineer? I said, okay. So I got in to start taking civil engineering classes, and I loved it. Building structures, building dams, all kinds of stuff, designing stuff, and then building it. I fell in love with it. So it was my introduction to the soils that drove the passion to become a civil engineer. That's to me what was the most important thing. I mean, I really fell in love with it. Farming is a lot of work. I have so much respect for these people in this valley. Until you actually do that work, you have no idea. And especially on a dairy farm, cows have to be milked twice a day, regardless of whether you're sick, down, it doesn't matter. The only way you're not going to get out of milking those cows is if you're dead.
You said you were a transportation intern when you were in college, right?
Mm-hmm.
Could you expand more?
When I got to be an intern, it was more of an inspector's role. So I got to go out and watch how they build stuff, and I learned how to take concrete tests like Kelly got to do for me this year. She went through and learned how to do a slump test and an air test and all that stuff. So I got to get certified in all of that stuff, which was really a cool experience. Understanding how that worked. I got into a lot of plan reading and understanding drawings and how to read plans and interpret it. And then the second season I got to do surveying, which was really a lot. I love surveying. Oh my gosh. I have wooden leg survey. I have probably 6 different survey guns at home that they don't even use anymore. I started out surveying with an old dumpy level. You guys can look that up later. An old dumpy level had 2 levels on it. And if one got out of plumb, the whole level was out of plumb. So you had to get them both synchronized. If the ground shook or a car went by or something, it would knock it out. So it was a whole dumpy level, and we also had a Fiat light, which was real sensitive, and so we had that, and then technology came along and we got an automatic level, which was really nice. We just set it up and we just shoot, which was really nice. But so I learned surveying. I learned about different temperatures in the summertime. The temperatures if you're using a steel tape. You have to allow for the deflection of the heat of the steel. It expands, so you have to learn how to calculate. So I got to do surveying. I got to, like I said, build some piers and a bridge deck. Do that. Concrete testing, soil testing, paving with asphalt and concrete. Learning how concrete's built. Normally you do a subgrade, and then you put a lean base down, which is usually 4 to 6 inches, and then you put your PCC, which is your permanent pavement concrete, and that's usually 8 to 12 inches thick with big paving machines. So that was a lot of fun. I fell in love with the outdoors too. I like being outdoors a lot. It's a lot of fun.
Now that you're higher up, is that like harder to be outdoors and more involved in outdoors?
You know, there's times that Kelly can attest to this. They like me to be inside because they want to go to meetings and stuff. But there are days during the week where I just say, you know what, screw you. I'm going on the field, and I'll go out and walk the job. I walk the jobs that I'm assigned to. Even here, even though I'm involved in all of it, I like to walk different sections of it because you know what, I can't see anything from the car because I'm trying to drive the car. But if I'm walking and kicking dirt clods, I can see everything. I can crawl into pipes, I can crawl into manholes, I can look down stuff. I mean, when you can be physically a part of the project, then you understand the project. And that's one of the things that I tell all my interns and young engineers is that be a part of what's going on. The planning phases is the best place to do it. Learn the schedule. If you can understand the schedule, the WBS, okay, I don't know if they teach Primavera or not. They teach P6 here?
No, just Excel.
Excel.
Yeah.
There's a scheduling tool, it's called CPM, Critical Path Management, okay? It's schedule. I promise you, if you understand the schedule of anything you're doing, you will own that project. Because you know every piece of it, so the logic and the ties, the successors, the predecessors, what comes before me, if you can understand all of that, you can build it in your city.
What do you say is your biggest career challenge or mistake that people who are going into industry could learn from?
Learn to harness. I get frustrated because I'm a doer of deeds, which means there's people who talk about doing stuff, and then there's people that actually do stuff. I do it. I don't need a dissertation. Give me a high level of what it is I'm looking at, what are your expectations, and I'll look at it. Okay? The frustration for me comes with having to deal with people who are not motivated. They do it just because it's something to do. I tell people, if you're not happy doing what you're doing, go find something else. Because people who come into an environment with a bad attitude, or they don't want to be there, oh, I'm only here because my parents are paying tuition. If I wasn't, if they didn't pay tuition, I wouldn't be here, type thing. You know what? They're like a cancer. And once they come into your classroom or your environment, they eat away at you. I used to have people, and I still do to this day, have people come in with a bad attitude or they're grumpy or whatever, and I say, they'll come over and say, go home. I'll pay you for the day, but take that nasty attitude home, because I don't want it in this environment. Because the fact is, it spreads negativity. So my frustrations sometimes are, and I'm getting better as I'm getting older. I'm 68 now. I'm like good wine. I've gotten better over time. But I've learned to manage a little more of that frustration because I'm still Mach 2 with my hair on fire. Mach 2 is 2,000 miles an hour, twice the speed of sound. So I'm Mach 2 with my hair on fire, but I'm learning to evaluate and appreciate people for who they are. Not everybody's going to go Mach 2 like me, but that doesn't mean they're not achievers or that means they're not slow. It's just that some people are strong in some areas and some people are strong in other areas. What you do is you find an opportunity as a manager to bring everybody together and say, okay, that person does that. And all of a sudden, when you find people doing what they enjoy doing, they do it well. When you're passionate about something, you do it well. So you find an opportunity to put people in positions where they enjoy doing what they're doing, and then you bring a team together and let them work together. It's like a symphony. Everybody plays just right on. And it's a beautiful thing. So I've had to harness my frustration sometimes with ineptness. I can't stomach stupidity. I will not tolerate laziness. I mean, the young people now have a unique opportunity. You gotta remember when I was in school, we didn't have phones, we didn't have computers, we didn't have anything. Everything was written out by hand. All the tests, everything was written out by hand. I remember doing one differential equation problem that took me 5 pages of paper. 5. That's like one book. Now it's just all here. Yeah, but anyway, so long story short is that some of the frustrations I think have gotten me. Regrets, I think we all have regrets about some of the things we do in our life. I've often looked back and said, gosh, I wish I'd have done that. But you know what? I can look to the past for lessons learned, but you can never move forward if you're always looking backwards. So don't look backwards. Mistakes are made. Here's what I tell my young engineers. If you're not making mistakes, you're not doing anything, okay? Kelly knows this because I jump her butt all the time about it. If you're not making a mistake, you're not doing anything. You're gonna make a mistake, trust me. That's why as engineers, we always have somebody check our work. Just a map, just check my work. Did I run the couch right, okay? And as long as you have somebody check your work, you're good. Because you're not always gonna make 100% on everything. But the bottom line is that don't be afraid to make mistakes. Lessons learned are the best lessons in life. If you fall off of your bike because you were going too fast and you weren't using your hands and you scraped your knees, you're not going to do that again because it left a nasty rash. But if you never took them off and that's right, then you'll never know. Make mistakes. It's okay. I'm telling you, it's okay to make mistakes because there will always be people there that will help you, pick you up, dust you off, and say, hey, great job. Now let's go get the next one. And that's what it's all about. Never succumbing to the peer pressure of, oh, don't do anything, don't risk anything. Risk big. Because if you risk big, you're going to win big. And that's what you want to do. You know, mediocrity and ineptness and laziness is disgusting. Go get it. Life is full of opportunities and challenges for you. Don't be afraid to reach out and touch them. They're there, and they're real. Go get it. The world's yours. How much do you want and how fast do you want it? That's what it is.
Could you expand about your new title at the High Speed Rail?
My title.
About what you do.
What I do every day as a deputy contract manager now, my new role as assigned is that basically we have a manager that I work closely with. I'm a part of a consulting group that was brought in to help support the authority. California created the High Speed Rail Authority, so it is actually a legal entity, governmental agency now. But the state legislature, the legislature passed it, I think about 20 years ago, 25 years ago, 22, something like that. Anyway, they made it a state agency. The Department of Transport, or the High Speed Rail Authority realizes they don't know everything. So one of the wisest things they did is they went and hired a consulting firm of people like me who are SMEs, subject matter experts. We understand what it is. I've been involved in building light rail around the country in different projects, so I understand the rail, how it all works. So in my job now, I get to get involved in what everybody is doing, solving problems, keeping the work rolling, reviewing DCN design changes, field changes, making the decisions that people are afraid to make. People won't make decisions because they're afraid of being wrong. I'm saying, don't be afraid to be wrong. It's okay to be wrong.
Yeah.
Fair enough?
Thank you.
Well, yeah, thank you so much.